In ancient success law, you will tap the timeless law that sages guarded like sacred fire. As you listen, the timeless law of abundance stirs within you, guiding every thought toward gold. Stay and watch how effortlessly desire becomes destiny. Ancient Success Law. Introduction. In the stillness between one breath and the next, you have arrived, summoned not by chance, but by the silent voice of the universe that has whispered through the ages. These ancient teachings, now placed in your hands, are no ordinary words. They are a sacred inheritance, unveiled only to those whose spirit is ready to remember. Long before clocks and calendars, before empires rose and fell, these truths were known. Passed in hushed tones from sage to seeker, they were guarded not for secrecy, but for sanctity, preserved for the moment when one such as you would awaken to receive them. While the modern world clamors and chases, the eternal law waits in stillness, drawing all things not by force, but by resonance. The path you now walk is not new. It winds through the hearts of prophets, mystics, and masters, each one having tasted the sweetness of alignment and the quiet power of effortless creation. These teachings do not demand, they invite. They do not strive, they attract. They do not command, they remember. You stand now at a sacred threshold, not to become something more, but to reclaim what was never lost. Within these words lies a law older than time, untouched by doubt, and sovereign over all limitations. Prosperity is not earned, it is allowed. Success is not hunted, it is revealed. This is your initiation into the ancient success law, a journey not forward, but inward. And as you listen, you will not be learning, you will be remembering. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Part 1. The Unveiling of Ancient Truths. Chapter 1. The Sacred Recognition. In a time long past, a merchant named Theodore wandered the ancient trading routes, his weathered hands clutching maps of distant lands. One evening, seeking rest beneath an ancient oak tree's sprawling branches, he noticed an unusual glint in the earth. Brushing away centuries of soil, he unearthed a peculiar compass, its golden surface adorned with mystical inscriptions. At first, Theodore cast it aside, for its needle pointed not to the north but seemed to dance without purpose. Yet as night fell, he noticed something extraordinary. The needle moved with his thoughts, pointing toward whatever his heart truly desired. The universe speaks in a language of signs and symbols, offering guidance to those who have cultivated the wisdom to perceive it. Like Theodore's compass, the signs of abundance surround you at every moment, waiting only for your recognition to spring into vibrant life. This recognition, this sacred awareness, forms the first and most fundamental law of manifestation. Your mind, much like a filter, allows you to perceive only what aligns with your deepest beliefs. When you believe in scarcity, your awareness becomes attuned to limitation. But when you awaken to the truth of abundance, you begin to notice the countless opportunities that have always surrounded you. What others call fortune or chance reveals itself as the natural consequence of aligned perception. In another time, in a humble village, lived a seamstress named Evangeline. Each day, she worked with ordinary threads, crafting garments for local townspeople. One morning, as sunlight streamed through her window, she noticed something extraordinary, golden threads woven throughout her fabric. At first, she believed her eyes deceived her, But as her awareness grew, she discovered these precious threads appeared everywhere in her work. They had always been there, waiting for her recognition. This simple tale mirrors the truth of your own existence, just as Evangeline discovered golden threads in her everyday materials. Abundance weaves itself through every moment of your life. Each interaction, each challenge, each seemingly ordinary circumstance contains within it the seeds of extraordinary opportunity. These seeds await only your recognition to blossom into manifestation. To cultivate this sacred awareness, embrace the daily practice of the sacred recognition ritual. Each morning, as the sun rises, sit in quiet contemplation for 10 minutes. Reflect upon your previous day, identifying 3 specific instances where abundance revealed itself to you, perhaps through an unexpected conversation, a timely inspiration, or a moment of perfect synchronicity. Record these gifts in your heart with gratitude, understanding that your recognition of them creates an energetic invitation for more abundance to flow into your life. Chapter 2. The Illusion of Modern Striving. In the heart of an ancient village lived a blacksmith named Augustus, whose days were spent forging chains of iron and steel. From dawn until dusk, his hammer rang against the anvil as he crafted ever stronger, ever heavier chains. "These will bring me security," he would whisper through exhausted breaths, his shoulders bent beneath the weight of his labor. Yet with each passing season, as his chains grew longer and stronger, Augustus found himself more tightly bound by the very security he sought to create. One evening, as shadows danced across his workshop walls, a sage appeared at his door. Without words, the elder lifted a simple key from his robes and placed it in Augustus's calloused palm. In that moment, the blacksmith understood. He had spent his life forging the very chains that held him captive. This tale unveils a truth long forgotten in the rushing currents of modern life. Society has taught you to strain against the natural flow of universal law, creating resistance where harmony was meant to flourish. Like Augustus, you have learned to measure your worth by the weight of your struggle, believing that success must be wrestled from the grip of an unwilling universe. The industrial age cast a shadow over humanity's ancient understanding of manifestation. Where once stood the art of divine alignment, now towers the machinery of endless effort. You have inherited a world that prizes the clenched fist over the open palm, forgetting that water flows most freely through relaxed fingers. In distant fields lived a farmer named Cornelius who spent years attempting to grow crops in concrete. Day after day, he would plant his seeds in the unyielding ground, cursing the heavens for his failed harvest. Until one morning, an elder of the village led him to rich, dark soil at the forest's edge. There, with gentle hands, they planted the same seeds Cornelius had always used. Within days, green shoots emerged, reaching effortlessly toward the sun. Like Cornelius, you have been planting your dreams in the concrete of societal conditioning. Your struggles with success reflect not personal failing, but the futility of forcing growth where flow was intended. The universe designed you not for constant strain, but for natural abundance through alignment with its eternal principles. To begin your journey of transformation, practice the release and realignment meditation. Find a quiet space and close your eyes. Breathe deeply as you identify 3 limiting beliefs about success that society has placed upon your shoulders. Release each one with an exhale, replacing it with an ancient truth. Success flows naturally to those who align with universal law. Abundance is my natural state. as I surrender to cosmic wisdom, all good things come to me with ease. Chapter 3: The Ancient Lineage of Wisdom Keepers. In a sun-dappled study overlooking ancient gardens, a young scribe named Isadora discovered a hidden door behind her grandmother's writing desk. Within lay a library unlike any other, shelves stretching toward vaulted ceilings filled not with ordinary books but with leather-bound volumes that seemed to pulse with their own light. As she opened the first time, golden letters revealed themselves. To the next guardian of wisdom. Through her grandmother's final letter, Isadora learned she had been chosen as the next keeper of this sacred collection. Each volume contained the crystallized wisdom of those who had mastered the eternal laws of abundance, mystics, philosophers, and illuminated souls who had walked the path of manifestation before her. You stand now where Isadora stood, at the threshold of understanding that transcends time. These teachings of abundance have flowed like an underground river through the ages, preserved by those who recognize their power. From the mystery schools of Egypt to the secret societies of Europe, from ancient temples to modern sanctuaries of wisdom, this knowledge has been protected and passed down through an unbroken chain of guardians. This is no new discovery you make, but a remembering of what your soul has always known. The principles of manifestation pulse through your very being, encoded in the fabric of your existence. You are not learning, but awakening to the wisdom that has waited patiently within you. On a windswept cliff overlooking endless seas stood Bartholomew, keeper of an ancient lighthouse. Night after night, he tended a flame that had burned for centuries before his birth. He understood that he was but one link in an eternal chain, not the source of the light, but its temporary guardian. The flame he protected would guide ships long after his time had passed, just as it had before he arrived. Like Bartholomew, you now stand as keeper of these eternal principles. The wisdom you embrace holds power beyond your own transformation. It will ripple outward through your example, touching countless lives as you embody these truths. To honor this sacred lineage, practice the lineage acknowledgement ceremony. Find a quiet space and light a candle. Close your eyes and visualize the endless chain of wisdom keepers stretching back through time. Feel their presence surrounding you as you speak these words. I acknowledge those who preserved these truths before me. I accept my role as guardian of this wisdom. Through my alignment with universal law, I carry forward these eternal principles. Let the candle burn for 11 minutes as you meditate on your place within this timeless tradition. Chapter 4: The First Law of Sacred Attraction. Along the storm-tossed shores of an ancient coast lived a fisherman named Percival. Each dawn found him casting his nets with desperate force into turbulent waters, his movements frantic, his brow furrowed with worry. Day after day his nets returned empty while other boats gilded home heavy with fish. One evening, exhausted and hungry, Percival encountered an elder watching the sunset by the harbor. "Your nets are strong, yet they catch nothing," the elder observed. "Perhaps it is not the nets that need changing, but the spirit in which they are cast." The elder guided Percival to a quiet cove where the waters lay still as glass. "Cast here," he instructed, not with desperation, but with the calm certainty that the fish already await you. When Percival's nets touched those peaceful waters, they immediately filled with silver-scaled abundance. This ancient wisdom reveals the most fundamental law of manifestation. The universe responds not to the intensity of your wanting, but to the quality of your knowing. When you approach life with desperate need, you create ripples that scatter what you seek. But when you move through the world with quiet certainty, you become a natural magnet for abundance. Your desires act as signals to the cosmic forces that shape reality. When these signals vibrate with want, they broadcast black into the universe, pushing away the very things you seek. But when your energy resonates with peaceful knowing, you align with the frequency of fulfillment, drawing your desires to you through natural law. Consider the merchant Cordelia, whose shop once stood empty despite her constant efforts to attract customers. She exhausted herself with elaborate displays and desperate promotions until a dream showed her a better way. In this vision, she saw herself simply opening her doors each morning with complete confidence, knowing her perfect customers would arrive. Upon awakening, Cordelia transformed her approach. She stopped chasing and started preparing, creating an atmosphere of such genuine value and welcome that customers began appearing as if drawn by an invisible force. Her certainty became a beacon, naturally attracting those who sought what she offered. To cultivate this sacred certainty in your own life, practice the Sacred Certainty Cultivation Ritual. Find a quiet space where you won't be disturbed. For 15 minutes each day, close your eyes and fully immerse yourself in the feeling of already possessing what you desire. Don't imagine acquiring it. Feel the peace and gratitude of having it now. Let your entire being resonate with the calm certainty of fulfillment rather than the anxious energy of wanting. This daily practice will gradually shift your vibrational signature from seeking to having, allowing the universe to naturally align with your new frequency of being. Chapter 5: The Mirror of Inner Kingdoms. In a realm long forgotten by time, there lived a king named Reginald, whose kingdom lay in disarray. The royal coffers emptied, crops withered, and discord spread through the streets. Each morning, Reginald summoned his advisors, demanding explanations for the realm's decline. Each evening, he dismissed another council, convinced they were the source of his troubles. One stormy night, a hermit appeared at the castle gates. Unlike the finely dressed advisors, this sage wore simple robes and carried only a mirror. "Your Majesty," the hermit spoke, "your kingdom is but a reflection of what lies within you." The hermit held up the mirror, showing Reginald not his face, but scenes from his kingdom. As the king's anger flared, he witnessed riots in the streets. When fear gripped his heart, the treasury's gold turned to dust. Only when peace settled in his soul did the mirror show flourishing markets and abundant harvests. This timeless truth reveals the law of reflection. Your external world mirrors your internal state with perfect precision. Every circumstance you encounter serves as a living testament to your consciousness. When you attempt to alter your life without first transforming your inner realm, you engage in an exercise of futility, like rearranging furniture in a mirror while leaving the room untouched. Your thoughts birth emotions, emotions guide actions, and actions create the tangible reality you experience. This chain of creation begins not in the physical world, but in the subtle realm of consciousness. True power lies not in manipulating external conditions, but in mastering the inner kingdom where all manifestation originates. In a distant valley lived a gardener named Millicent, who exhausted herself replanting her garden season after season. No matter which seeds she chose or how diligently she tended them, her flowers would not thrive. One night in meditation, she understood the soil itself lacked life. Only after enriching the earth with proper nutrients did her garden transform into a paradise where every seed flourished naturally. Just as Millicent discovered the futility of planting in barren soil, you too may recognize how past efforts to achieve success faltered because they were rooted in unchanged consciousness. When you transform the soil of your awareness, any dream you plant finds fertile ground for manifestation. To begin this transformation, practice the inner kingdom assessment. Examine your current circumstances as perfect feedback about your internal state. If you find lack in your external world, look for corresponding thoughts of scarcity within. Where you discover conflict in your relationships, search for inner discord. Then, consciously shift your inner experience to align with your desired reality, knowing that as you transform within, your outer world must follow. Chapter 6, The Language of the Universe. In an ancient monastery among mist-shrouded peaks, a translator named Ambrose labored over scrolls of mysterious origin. Day after day, he scrutinized the cryptic symbols, applying every scholarly technique he had mastered over decades of study. Yet the meaning remained elusive, like water slipping through his fingers. One evening, exhausted from his efforts, Ambrose rested his head upon the manuscripts. As his analytical mind surrendered to silence, something extraordinary occurred. The symbols began to dance before his inner eye, not as words to be decoded, but as living energies speaking directly to his heart. In that moment of surrender, the wisdom contained within the text flowed through him with perfect clarity. Through this eternal truth, you now understand that the universe speaks not in the language of logic, but in the timeless tongue of the soul. Every moment carries messages meant not for your mind to dissect, but for your heart to receive. These divine communications appear as synchronicities that cannot be dismissed as mere coincidence. The repeated numbers that catch your eye, the chance encounters that shift your path, the sudden insights that illuminate your way forward. These signs surround you constantly, forming an intricate feedback system that confirms when you walk in alignment with universal law and gently redirects you when you stray. What appears as a random chance to the sleeping mind reveals itself as precise guidance to the awakened heart. In distant waters sailed a ship captain named Prudence who trusted only in maps and instruments to navigate the seas. She dismissed the shifting patterns of waves, ignored the dance of seabirds, and paid no heed to the changing colors of the sky. Until one night when a fearsome storm stripped away all her technological aids, leaving her with nothing but nature's own language to guide her. In that moment of forced surrender, Prudence learned to read the wisdom written in wind and wave. She discovered that the sea itself spoke to those who listened with their whole being, not just their minds. From that day forward, she sailed in harmony with the elements, finding safe passage where others saw only danger. Like Prudence, you too have navigated by instruments that measure only the surface of reality, missing the deeper currents of divine guidance. Those past struggles and seeming failures were not punishments, but messages. Cosmic road signs, pointing toward paths of greater alignment that your rational mind could not perceive. To attune yourself to this universal language, maintain a universal language journal. Each day, record 3 synchronicities or signs that appear in your experience. Practice interpreting their meaning in relation to your current aspirations, allowing your intuitive wisdom to reveal the guidance hidden within these cosmic communications. Chapter 7, The Sacred Circle of Giving. Through the narrow streets of an ancient city walked Mortimer, a miser whose pockets jingled with coins he dared not spend. Each morning, He counted his wealth, sealing it away in iron boxes that lined his cellar walls. Though his coffers grew, his heart shrank, until a mysterious figure appeared at his door one stormy night. The stranger, cloaked in simple robes, showed Mortimer a vessel of pure water. "Watch," the figure instructed, pouring the water into a stagnant pool. The fresh water turned murky and thick. Then, pouring water into a flowing stream, the stranger showed how it remained crystal clear, multiplying as it merged with the current. Through this eternal truth, you now understand that abundance follows the natural law of circulation. Like water, wealth must flow to maintain its vitality. When you grasp with fear, you create resistance that blocks the very prosperity you seek. But when you give with an open heart, you align with the infinite current of universal supply. This wisdom reveals why some who seem to give everything away never lack, while others who hoard every penny live in perpetual scarcity. The universe responds not to the quantity of your possessions, but to the quality of your relationship with abundance itself. In a small village lived a baker named Patience who struggled to keep her shop alive. One morning, seeing hungry children press their faces against her window, she began giving away yesterday's bread instead of discarding it. A curious thing happened. The more she gave, the more customers appeared at her door. Those who witnessed her kindness spread word of her generous spirit, and soon her shop overflowed with business. The energy of genuine giving had created invisible bridges of goodwill, returning to her multiplied blessings she never sought. Her simple act of caring opened channels through which abundance could flow freely. To activate this principle in your own life, practice the sacred giving ritual. For 7 days, give something of true value, whether time, resources, or service, to another without expecting anything in return. Focus purely on the joy of contribution, knowing that your giving creates space for new abundance to enter. This practice dissolves the energetic blockages of fear and scarcity, allowing prosperity to flow naturally into your life. Chapter 8: The Foundation of Unshakable Faith. Along the banks of a raging river stood Clarence, a master bridge builder, facing his greatest challenge. The waters below churned with violent force, threatening to destroy any structure placed in their path. For months, Clarence focused solely on crafting the most robust materials, the strongest steel, the hardest stone. Yet each attempt failed as the river claimed his work. One night, an elder appeared beside him as he stared into the turbulent waters. "You build from above," the elder observed, "when strength flows from below." The elder guided Clarence to dig deep beneath the riverbed, showing him how to establish a foundation so solid that no current could shake it. Only then did his bridge rise triumphant above the waters, unmoved by the chaos below. Through this wisdom, you now grasp that faith operates as the invisible foundation beneath all manifestation. Like Clarence's bridge, your desires require not just visible action, but unseen support, the bedrock of absolute certainty that transcends mere hoping or wishing. True faith emerges not from blind belief, but from understanding the precise operation of universal law. Just as a scientist trusts gravity without question, you develop unshakable faith by observing how thoughts consistently crystallize into reality when applied with proper understanding. Hope wavers like leaves in the wind. Belief stretches and bends under pressure. But faith, true faith, stands immovable like mountains, knowing that what is sought must manifest according to cosmic law. In distant fields worked Cordelia, a farmer who planted during the worst drought in memory. While others waited fearfully for rain, she sowed her seeds with perfect certainty, understanding that nature's cycles never fail. Her neighbors called her mad, but she simply smiled, knowing that her faith rested not on wishful thinking but on observation of universal principles. When the rains finally came, only her fields stood ready to receive nature's blessing. You recognize this same opportunity in your own life, to develop faith not through desperate pleading, but through studied observation of how the universe consistently responds to aligned thought and expectation. The Faith Foundation building practice awaits your participation. Select 3 small desires and hold them with pure, unwavering certainty. Watch closely how doubt interferes with manifestation, while absolute faith creates bridges between thought and reality. Through this practice, your trust in universal law grows from intellectual understanding to bone-deep knowing. Chapter 9, The Guardian of Your Vision. In the ancient kingdom of Avalon, a knight named Thaddeus stood guard over the eternal flame, a sacred fire said to hold the power of 1,000 suns. While other knights prepared for battle against visible enemies, Thaddeus learned that his greatest challenge came not from external threats but from the whispers of doubt that crept into his own heart during the darkest hours of his watch. Through Thaddeus' journey, you discover the vital truth that every vision requires protection, not just from outer opposition, but from the internal forces that would dim its light. Like the sacred flame, your dreams exist first as delicate sparks in the ethereal realm before manifesting in the physical world. The universe operates through precise laws of manifestation, where thoughts must be sheltered and nourished before they can take form in reality. When you share your visions prematurely with those who lack understanding of these principles, their doubts and fears can extinguish the very flame you seek to nurture. Your dreams require a sacred space, a protected chamber within your consciousness, where they can grow strong enough to withstand the winds of opposition. In the valleys below the ancient mountains lived Beatrice, a gardener entrusted with rare seeds from distant lands. She understood that these precious seedlings required more than just water and soil. They needed protection from harsh elements and hungry creatures until their roots grew deep and their stems strong. Each morning and evening she would carefully shield them with special coverings, moving them between sun and shade as needed, speaking to them words of encouragement. Like Beatrice's seedlings, your dreams exist in a delicate state between conception and manifestation. They require your vigilant protection and nurturing presence. Many visions wither, not from lack of potential, but from exposure to harsh environments before they have developed the strength to flourish independently. The vision protection ritual offers a sacred practice for shielding your manifestations during their vulnerable growth period. Find a quiet space each morning where you can surround your current goals with protective light through meditation. Speak words of power that affirm their inevitable manifestation. Most importantly, maintain silence about your deepest dreams, except among those who understand and honor the sacred principles of creation. Through this daily practice, you create an impenetrable sphere of positive energy around your visions, allowing them to grow strong enough to withstand any opposition. Chapter 10. The Threshold of Transformation. At the edge of time, where ancient wisdom meets present choice, a pilgrim named Atticus stood at the crossroads of destiny. Before him stretched 2 paths, one winding back to his village, worn smooth by generations of familiar footsteps, the other ascending into mist-shrouded heights where infinite possibilities dwelled. You now stand at a similar threshold. The knowledge you have gathered is not meant merely for contemplation, but for transformation. Like water that must choose to become vapor, you face the moment where intellectual understanding must transform into lived wisdom. The universe operates through absolute law, as precise as mathematics, as consistent as the dawn. Yet knowing these laws is not enough. The ancient teachings must move from your mind to your being, from concept to conviction, from theory to practice. This crossing requires more than careful consideration. It demands complete surrender to a new way of living. In the eternal cycle of transformation, a caterpillar named Sylvester clung to his leaf, feeling the uncomfortable stirrings of change within. The safety of his known world beckoned him to remain as he was, while an inner voice called him to surrender to the mystery of metamorphosis. His choice was stark: remain forever earthbound, or die to all he knew to become what he was meant to be. Like Sylvester, you cannot embrace your destined greatness while clutching your familiar limitations. The laws of manifestation demand not partial application, but total commitment. You cannot cross this threshold halfway. Transformation requires complete surrender to the ancient principles that have guided the awakened throughout time. To seal your commitment and mark this sacred crossing, the threshold crossing ceremony awaits. In the quiet of dawn or dusk, write down every limiting belief, every old pattern, every fear that has kept you bound to lesser existence. Light a candle, and with reverence, burn these papers one by one, watching your old self transform into ash. Then speak aloud your commitment to live by the eternal laws you have discovered, knowing that the universe witnesses your declaration and stands ready to respond with all its power to your new alignment with truth. Part 2: The Mastery of Sacred Laws. Chapter 11: The Alchemy of Thought. In the ancient city of Alexandria, where mystery schools guarded sacred knowledge, an apprentice alchemist named Gideon labored day and night over bubbling crucibles. His hands were stained with chemicals, his robes singed from endless experiments, all in his desperate quest to transform lead into gold. Each failure drove him to seek more complex formulas, rarer ingredients, until his master finally approached his workbench. "You search outside for what can only be found within," the master said, placing a simple mirror before him. "The first and greatest laboratory is the mind itself." Through this wisdom you now uncover the sacred science that underlies all manifestation. Just as every physical element vibrates at a specific frequency, each thought carries its own vibrational signature that shapes the invisible matrix of creation. This is not metaphor but cosmic law, as precise as mathematics, as reliable as gravity. Ordinary thoughts, worry, doubt, criticism vibrate at the lower frequencies that attract ordinary or unwanted circumstances. But when you learn to transmute these base mental elements into thoughts of pure gratitude, unconditional love, and unwavering certainty, you create a resonance that naturally draws abundance, just as a tuning fork vibrating at one frequency causes another fork to sing in harmony. In the hidden valleys where master weavers practiced their art, there lived a woman named Dorothea who crafted tapestries of legendary beauty. Yet her early works, though technically skilled, lacked the luminous quality that would later make her famous. Everything changed when she realized that the quality of her thoughts while weaving affected the very thread passing through her fingers. She began selecting her mental state as carefully as she chose her threads, weaving only when her mind sparkled with appreciation, joy, and positive expectation. Soon her tapestries took on an almost magical radiance, and nobles traveled from distant lands to acquire them. Like Dorothea, you weave the fabric of your reality through the thoughts you choose moment by moment. Each mental pattern becomes a thread in the tapestry of your experience. When you maintain thoughts that vibrate at the frequency of abundance, you naturally attract circumstances that match that vibration. The Golden Thought Transmutation practice invites you to spend 20 minutes daily in conscious mental alchemy. Sit in silence with eyes closed, bringing awareness to your current thoughts. When you notice a lower vibration thought of lack, doubt, or limitation, consciously transmute it into its golden opposite. Gratitude for what you have, certainty in the universe's abundance, love for yourself and others. Feel the shift in your energetic field as you refine each thought into its highest possible frequency. Chapter 12, The Ritual of Daily Alignment. On a windswept cliff overlooking treacherous waters, Ezekiel tended his lighthouse with unwavering dedication. Night after night, through storms and calm seas alike, he polished the great lens, trimmed the wick, and ensured the flame burned steady and true. Other keepers boasted of the extraordinary brightness they achieved on special occasions, but Ezekiel understood that a consistent light, maintained with devotion, saved more ships than sporadic brilliance. You now uncover this timeless truth. Alignment with universal forces requires not dramatic spiritual peaks, but steady, devoted practice. Just as Ezekiel's lighthouse guided ships safely to harbor through his daily rituals, your consistent spiritual practices create the steady vibration that naturally draws abundance to your shore. The masters of manifestation maintain 3 sacred alignments each day. In the morning, as the sun rises, they attune their energy through gratitude meditation, setting their vibrational frequency to match the abundance they wish to attract. At midday, when the world's chaos threatens to disturb their harmony, they perform sacred check-ins, realigning their energy with divine flow. As evening falls, they release all resistance through purposeful visualization, allowing their subconscious mind to work in harmony with universal forces through the night. In a valley known for its extraordinary harvest lived a gardener named Prudence. While others worked their plots with sporadic enthusiasm, she tended her garden with quiet, unchanging devotion. Each morning, she walked the rows with loving attention. Each afternoon, she adjusted for the day's conditions. Each evening, she blessed the growing things before retiring. Over time, her modest plot yielded harvests so abundant that people whispered of miraculous intervention. But Prudence knew the only miracle was consistency. Like Prudence's garden, your manifesting power grows through regular spiritual practice. Each sacred ritual builds upon the last, creating compound effects that exponentially multiply your ability to attract abundance. The masters understood this profound truth. It is not the intensity of any single spiritual moment that creates lasting transformation, but the steady accumulation of daily practices that gradually attunes your entire being to the frequency of divine will. Your sacred daily alignment ritual now becomes the foundation of your manifestation practice. Begin each morning with 15 minutes of gratitude meditation, focusing on the abundance already present in your life. At midday, perform 3-minute energy check-ins, realigning with abundance frequencies when needed. End each day with 10 minutes of visualization, releasing all resistance and programming your subconscious to work in harmony with universal forces while you sleep. Chapter 13, The Temple of Worthiness. In a distant kingdom lived a young man named Barnaby, raised among peasants in a humble cottage at the forest's edge. Unknown to him, royal blood flowed through his veins. He was the kingdom's rightful heir. Yet even when presented with proof of his lineage through ancient scrolls and royal seals, Barnaby refused to claim his throne. "I am but a simple peasant," he would say, turning away from the golden crown. "Such splendor is not meant for one like me." A wise counselor named Solomon observed Barnaby's struggle and approached him one evening. "Your worthiness does not stem from what you have done or where you were raised," Solomon explained. "It flows from who you truly are, a divine being playing a temporary role in this earthly drama. You now discover the profound truth that unworthiness is the greatest obstacle between you and your desires. The universe responds not to your wishes or actions, but to your deepest beliefs about what you deserve. When you doubt your worthiness, you create an energetic barrier that even the most powerful manifestation techniques cannot penetrate. True worthiness stems not from external achievements or others' approval. Your soul carries an unchangeable divine signature that no earthly experience can erase or diminish. What you call becoming worthy is actually remembering your inherent nature, like a sun that was always shining, momentarily hidden behind clouds of doubt. In a sculptor's studio lived a master artist named Constance who worked differently than her peers. While others struggled to create beauty, she would gaze at a block of marble and declare, "The perfect statue already exists within. My task is simply to remove everything that isn't part of its true nature." Day after day, she chipped away the excess stone until the hidden masterpiece emerged, already complete, waiting only to be revealed. Like Constance's marble, your divine worthiness requires no construction, only uncovering. The beliefs that hide your magnificence, "I'm not good enough," "I don't deserve abundance," "Others are more worthy than me," are simply excess stones waiting to be chipped away. The Temple of Worthiness meditation guides you back to this truth. For 15 minutes daily, sit in sacred silence. Envision yourself entering an ancient temple where your true nature is reflected in mirrors of pure light. Release 3 specific unworthiness beliefs that have limited your ability to receive abundance, watching them dissolve like morning mist in the temple's radiance. Let your inherent divine nature shine forth, unchanged and unchangeable, worthy by design rather than by decree. Before we get into the next chapter, you can download a free ebook version of this audiobook using the link in the pinned comment below this video. Chapter 14, The Wisdom of Divine Timing. In the fertile valleys of an ancient land there lived a farmer named Cornelius, whose impatience led him to wage war against time itself. Each morning he would venture into his fields, tugging at his crops, attempting to accelerate their growth through sheer force of will. He built elaborate systems of ropes and pulleys to stretch his plants toward the sun, believing he could outsmart nature's rhythm. As his forced methods yielded only withered stalks and bitter fruit, a neighboring farmer's fields flourished with minimal intervention. "The seasons know their purpose," the old farmer told him. "Your role is not to command time, but to dance with it." Through this wisdom, you now uncover a fundamental truth about manifestation. The universe operates according to perfect timing that encompasses infinite variables beyond human comprehension. Just as a flower cannot be forced to bloom before its season, Your desires manifest not through rushed action, but through alignment with divine timing. Universal intelligence orchestrates events with precise coordination, considering not just your readiness, but the readiness of all people and circumstances required for your success. What appears as delay often serves as protection, preparing the perfect conditions for your desires to manifest in their most complete form. In a distant city lived Adelaide, a young musician who struggled to create beautiful melodies until she discovered that music's power lay not just in the notes she played, but in the spaces between them. The pause between notes on her master taught her creates the anticipation that makes the next note meaningful. Through this understanding, her compositions transformed from cluttered noise into flowing masterpieces. The wisdom in Adelaide's story mirrors your own journey with manifestation. Success flows not from constant action, but from precisely timed movements, in harmony with universal rhythms. Like a master musician, you learn to feel when to act and when to pause, understanding that strategic stillness often accomplishes more than frantic motion. The divine timing meditation guides you into alignment with these cosmic rhythms. Sit in peaceful contemplation, allowing universal intelligence to reveal the perfect timing for actions related to your goals. Feel the subtle difference between forced action born of fear and aligned action flowing from divine guidance. Let this practice attune your being to the natural rhythm of manifestation, transforming you from one who pushes against time into one who flows within it. Chapter 15, The Art of Invisible Influence. In a distant kingdom, Queen Genevieve ruled not through decrees and proclamations, but through the silent power of her presence. While other monarchs commanded with iron fists, she understood a deeper truth, that true influence flows from being rather than doing. Her court naturally aligned with her vision, drawn by an invisible force that transcended ordinary authority. Through this ancient tale, you discover the profound principle that mastery of manifestation requires not more action, but deeper presence. Like Queen Genevieve, you learn that your energy field, the invisible atmosphere of consciousness that surrounds you, holds more power to attract your desires than any amount of striving or manipulation. Your vibrational signature broadcasts continuously into the universe, operating like a magnetic force that either draws or repels that which you seek. When you embody the consciousness of already having what you desire, you naturally attract corresponding circumstances, opportunities, and relationships. This is not pretense or imagination, but rather a fundamental shift in your energetic frequency. Far across the misty seas, Montgomery tended his lighthouse with unwavering dedication. He never ventured out to guide ships personally, understanding that his role was to maintain a steady beacon of light that vessels would naturally navigate toward. Night after night, his consistent presence saved countless lives, not through direct action, but through the reliable radiance of his tower. In Montgomery's steadfast service, you recognize a reflection of your own potential for magnetic influence. Those who have most profoundly impacted your life did not convince you through argument or persuade you through effort. They attracted you through the undeniable power of their presence. Like ships drawn to Montgomery's beacon, people and opportunities naturally gravitate toward those who maintain a consistent energy of abundance and certainty. The magnetic presence cultivation practice invites you to spend 20 minutes daily embodying the energy of someone who already possesses what you seek. Feel the quiet confidence, the peaceful certainty, the natural grace that comes from having rather than wanting. Practice this energy until it becomes not a technique, but your authentic way of being, transforming you into a natural attractor of all you desire. Chapter 16. The Council of Inner Advisors. In the bustling markets of an ancient city, a merchant named Obadiah wrestled daily with decisions that could make or break his fortune. Each choice weighed heavily upon him as he sought counsel from fellow traders, studied market patterns, and consulted traveling sages. Yet despite all this external wisdom, uncertainty continued to plague his heart. One evening, exhausted from another day of indecision, Obadiah retreated to his private garden. As he sat beneath a flowering tree, his mind gradually stilled, and in that silence, he discovered something extraordinary, an inner chamber where wise advisors awaited his questions. Here, in the depths of his own consciousness, sat figures of profound wisdom who offered guidance clearer than any he had received in the marketplace. Through Obadiah's discovery, you learn that within your own being exists a council of divine intelligence, an inner court of wisdom that includes your higher self, spiritual guides, and the accumulated knowledge of all who have walked the path of manifestation before you. This council chamber exists beyond time and space, accessible whenever you quiet the external chatter of the world and turn your attention inward. In another time and place, a ship captain named Millicent struggled to navigate treacherous waters. She had always relied on coastal landmarks, but when storms obscured her view, she found herself lost and afraid. It was then she learned to look upward, discovering that the stars offered unwavering guidance no matter how chaotic the waters below became. Through practice, she developed such trust in celestial navigation that she could confidently sail through any weather. Like Millicent, you are learning that while external circumstances may shift and change, your inner guidance system remains constant and true. The same stars that guided ancient sailors still shine today, just as the wisdom within you remains unchanging and reliable amidst life's storms. The Inner Council consultation ritual invites you to enter the sacred chamber of your consciousness through meditation. Find a quiet space and allow your breath to carry you deeper within. Visualize yourself descending a spiral staircase into a beautiful council chamber where your inner advisors await. Present your question or challenge to the council, then sit in receptive silence as wisdom emerges from the depths of your being. Practice distinguishing between the clear resonance of true guidance and the scattered chatter of mental speculation. Trust that the answers you seek already exist within you, waiting only for your willingness to listen in sacred stillness. Chapter 17. The Sacred Destruction. In a garden renowned throughout the land, Master Gardener Thaddeus stood before his most cherished rosebush, pruning shears in hand. Though the bush bloomed with dozens of flowers, he knew that each cut, though painful to make, would ultimately yield greater abundance. With reverence and precision, he removed not just dead wood, but also healthy branches, understanding that what seemed like destruction was actually an act of profound love. Through Thaddeus's sacred work, you discover that true manifestation often requires the courage to release what appears valuable in order to create space for something even more magnificent. Just as a garden cannot flourish when overcrowded, your life cannot expand into new possibilities while cluttered with outgrown experiences, beliefs, and relationships. The universal law of sacred destruction teaches that every ending creates a beginning, every release opens a space for receiving. Yet this principle requires discernment. the wisdom to distinguish between fearful abandonment and conscious release. When you release fear, you create a vacuum of loss. But when you release from wisdom, you create a sacred space that the universe naturally fills with greater blessings. In the studio of a renowned artist, sculptor Evangeline faced a massive block of marble. Though its current form appeared solid and unchangeable, she saw the masterpiece waiting within. With each strike of her chisel, she broke away pieces that others might have preserved. Some observers gasped as large chunks fell away, not understanding that every piece removed brought her closer to revealing the perfection that had always existed within the stone. Like Evangeline, you possess the power to chip away everything that conceals your highest potential. Each limiting belief you release, each stagnant situation you let go of, each relationship you lovingly complete. These are not losses, but revelations, bringing you closer to the magnificent life that has been waiting to emerge. The sacred release ceremony beckons you to a moment of profound transformation. In the quietness of your sacred space, identify 3 elements in your life that have completed their season of purpose. Perhaps a belief that has grown too small, a situation that no longer nurtures your spirit, or a relationship that has fulfilled its divine contract. Light a white candle, letting its flame represent the eternal light of wisdom guiding your choices. On 3 separate pieces of paper, inscribe these elements with mindful intention, allowing your hand to move with both courage and compassion. Before you release each one, draw it close to your heart center. Feel its essence, acknowledge its role in shaping your journey, and offer your deepest gratitude for the lessons and growth it has provided. One by one, release these papers into a bowl of pure water, watching as they slowly dissolve and transform, their physical form returning to formlessness. Alternatively, in a fireproof vessel, safely burn each paper, observing how the smoke rises and dissipates into the infinite expanse above, carrying with it all that you now choose to release. As you witness this sacred transformation, breathe deeply into the expanding spaciousness within your being. Trust in the divine law that nature abhors a vacuum. This newly created space becomes a magnetic vessel, drawing forth blessings, opportunities, and experiences that align perfectly with your highest purpose and truest expression of self. Chapter 18, The Protection of Sacred Boundaries. In the mountains of ancient wisdom, monastery keeper Jeremiah tended a sacred flame that had burned uninterrupted for centuries. While his predecessors had warned him of obvious threats, thieves who would steal the flame's power, storms that would extinguish its light, he learned through experience that the greatest dangers often came wrapped in good intentions. Well-meaning pilgrims who wished to help tend the flame, visitors who brought their own incense without understanding its effects, even fellow monks who questioned the strict protocols of protection, all posed risks to the flame's delicate balance. Through Jeremiah's vigilant guardianship, you discover that manifesting power requires careful protection from both obvious and subtle threats. As your ability to attract abundance grows stronger, you must develop keen discernment about the energies you allow into your sacred space. Not all who approach with smiles serve your highest good, and not all who challenge you wish you harm. The universe has gifted you with precious manifesting power, a divine flame that requires protection through wisdom rather than fear. You learn to recognize energy vampires who drain your creative force through constant demands for attention or emotional support. You begin to sense when seemingly supportive friends actually undermine your dreams through subtle doubts disguised as concern. You understand that maintaining strong, energetic boundaries preserves your manifesting power for its highest purpose. In a hidden valley, gardener Cordelia cultivated rare flowers whose delicate nature was understood by few. While she built fences against rabbits and deer, her greatest challenge came from kind neighbors who insisted on helping tend her garden. One would overwater the seedlings despite her protests. Another would add fertilizer that disrupted the soil's careful balance. And still another would remove protective coverings, believing the plants needed more sun. Through patience and diplomatic firmness, Cordelia learned to protect her garden while maintaining good relations with those who meant well but lacked understanding. Like Cordelia, you need not reject others to protect your dreams. Instead, you learn to create clear boundaries with love. Understanding that few people comprehend the subtle requirements of manifestation, you recognize that your energy field is a sacred space where dreams take root and grow, requiring careful protection from both harmful and helpful interference. The energy boundary ritual guides you to sit quietly and visualize a sphere of golden light surrounding your entire being. Feel this light forming a permeable barrier that allows pure, supportive energies to enter while gently deflecting energies that would drain or disrupt your manifesting power. Consciously choose which influences you will allow into your sacred space, knowing that protecting your dreams is an act of self-love that serves your highest purpose. Chapter 19. The Magnetism of Authentic Power. In a village renowned for its metalwork, young Augustus labored day and night creating ornate decorations for wealthy merchants. His work sparkled with intricate patterns and elaborate designs, yet something felt hollow in his endless pursuit of admiration. One day, a mastersmith named Solomon visited his forge. While others praised Augustus's decorative pieces, Solomon simply picked up a plain hammer the young smith had forged for his own use. "Here lies your true power," Solomon said, testing the hammer's perfect balance. "In this simple tool, I feel your authentic craft, not what you think others want, but what you know in your soul to be true." Through this simple observation, you discover the profound difference between power that seeks to impress and power that seeks to serve. When you align with your genuine nature, rather than crafting an image to please others, you tap into a magnetic force that naturally draws success toward you. This authentic power flows not from what you do, but from who you truly are. The universe responds not to the decorative facades you construct, but to the truth of your being. Like water flowing downhill, abundance naturally moves toward those who embody their authentic nature. You learn that true power emerges when you release the need to prove your worth and simply express your divine essence through everything you do. In a distant kingdom, Queen Prudence initially ruled through strict decrees and shows of force, believing power came from controlling others. Yet despite her grand proclamations, she felt her influence weakening. Through a profound inner awakening, she discovered that true authority flowed naturally when she governed with wisdom and genuine care for her people's well-being. As she released the need to dominate and instead focused on serving the highest good of her realm, her subjects responded with deepening loyalty and trust. You see in Prudence's transformation a reflection of your own journey from forced action to magnetic presence. The most influential people in your life have never needed to demand attention or prove their importance. Their power flows naturally from an unshakable connection to their authentic purpose. The authentic power meditation guides you to sit quietly and connect with your true nature, beneath all societal expectations and conditioned behaviors. Feel the strength that emerges when you release the need to impress others and simply allow your genuine self to shine through. Practice expressing this authentic presence in your daily interactions, knowing that true power lies not in what you do, but in the truth of who you are. Chapter 20. The Sacred Partnership with Fear. In a kingdom of ancient lore, a valiant knight named Clarence stood before the entrance of a mountain cave, his armor gleaming in the morning sun. For years, tales of a fearsome dragon had kept the villagers trembling behind locked doors. Now, as royal defender of the realm, Clarence had sworn to vanquish this terror once and for all. Yet when he entered the cave, torch held high, he discovered not a mindless beast, but a magnificent creature, coiled protectively around a chamber filled with sacred scrolls and crystalline wisdom stones. The dragon's eyes held not malice but discernment, and Clarence realized that it attacked only those who sought to plunder these treasures with impure intent. In this revelation lies a profound truth about the nature of fear itself. What appears as your greatest enemy often serves as the guardian of your most precious opportunities. Fear stands not as an obstacle to be overcome, but as a wise sentinel ensuring you approach your deepest treasures with the reverence they deserve. The universe places these guardians not to prevent your progress, but to ensure you have developed the wisdom and character necessary to handle the power that awaits beyond them. Every fear you face carries within it a hidden message about the magnitude of the opportunity it protects. Deep beneath tropical waters, a pearl diver named Beatrice had always stayed within the safe shallows, gathering only the common pearls that others had already discovered. Each day, she felt a mysterious pull toward the darker depths where legend spoke of pearls of unprecedented size and beauty. Yet fear held her back, until one morning, when she realized that her fear of the depths was precisely what marked them as significant. With trembling courage, she dove deeper than ever before, moving through layers of fear and darkness. There, in waters few had dared to enter, she discovered beds of pearls more magnificent than any she had imagined, understanding at last that her fear had been pointing toward this treasure all along. The Fear Partnership ritual invites you to sit quietly with your greatest current fear. Engage it, not as an enemy, but as a wise guardian. Ask, what treasure do you protect? What gift awaits beyond your threshold? Listen deeply to the response that emerges from within. Then choose one small action that moves you toward rather than away from this fear, understanding that each step through fear's doorway brings you closer to the very treasures you seek. Part 3. The Embodiment of Divine Success. Chapter 21. The Throne of Your Kingdom. In the rolling hills beyond the ancient forests, a humble shepherd named Reginald tended his flock with quiet dedication, unaware that royal blood flowed through his veins. When wise elders revealed his true heritage as the kingdom's rightful ruler, Reginald's first instinct was to decline, believing himself unworthy of such power. Yet as he stood before the throne that was his birthright, a profound transformation began to unfold. You now stand at this same threshold of divine inheritance. Like Reginald, you have reached the moment where tentative steps must give way to sovereign stride. The universe awaits your full embodiment of the creative power that has always been your birthright. To manifest with true authority requires more than mere understanding of universal laws. It demands that you fully occupy your throne as the conscious creator of your reality. When you direct your life from this elevated consciousness, Miracles flow not as rare exceptions, but as natural expressions of your divine nature. Consider how differently water flows from a tentative trickle versus a confident stream. Your creative power operates by the same principle. Each intention you set, each decision you make, carries the full force of universal law when issued from the throne of your divine sovereignty. In the halls of a distant empire, Empress Cordelia faced a similar awakening. Though born to nobility, she initially wore her crown as though it might slip from her head at any moment. Through deep inner work, she discovered that true sovereignty meant wearing her authority not as an ornament, but as an expression of her deepest nature. Her greatest revelation came in understanding that authentic power exists to serve rather than to dominate. Like Cordelia, you must now recognize that claiming your creative power serves a purpose far greater than personal gain. You are not ascending to a throne of ego, but accepting the sacred responsibility of conscious co-creation with the universe itself. The time has come for your sovereign declaration ceremony, a sacred ritual of power that echoes through the chambers of your soul. Find a quiet space, a sanctuary where the whispers of the mundane world cannot reach you. This sacred chamber, whether humble or grand, becomes your cosmic throne room for this transformative rite. Light a single candle, watching as its flame dances and grows stronger, much like your awakening power. This living light represents your divine authority, burning away all shadows of doubt and illuminating the path of your sovereign journey. Let its warm glow remind you of the eternal flame of creation that burns within your spirit. Stand tall, shoulders back, head lifted with quiet dignity, not in arrogance, but in the serene confidence of one who knows their true nature. Feel the earth steady beneath your feet as you align your physical presence with your spiritual authority. Now, with the full force of your sovereign nature stirring in your chest, make 3 clear declarations about what you will manifest from your throne of conscious creation. Speak these declarations not as mere wishes whispered in the dark, not as hopes cast to uncertain winds, but as royal decrees that carry the full weight of universal law. Let each word resonate with the power of absolute knowing, for you speak now from the depths of your divine authority, commanding the very forces of creation to align with your will. Chapter 22. The Alchemy of Instant Manifestation. In the hidden valleys of an ancient mountain range, master alchemist Ezekiel labored over bubbling crucibles and glowing furnaces. For decades, he pursued the transformation of base metals into gold, until one crystalline morning when divine insight struck like lightning. The metals before him suddenly seemed irrelevant. He had been practicing with mere symbols of a far greater alchemy. Through years of dedicated practice, Ezekiel discovered that time itself was the ultimate medium of transformation. In moments of perfect alignment between consciousness and cosmic law, he could compress years of change into single breaths of pure intention. The universe responded not to the length of his efforts, but to the completeness of his alignment. You now stand at the threshold of this profound understanding. What appears as linear time is merely the mind's way of processing infinite possibility. Everything you seek to manifest already exists in a realm beyond time, waiting only for your consciousness to align with its vibration completely. When you achieve perfect resonance between your thoughts, emotions, and energy field, the universe has no choice but to reorganize reality instantly around your intention. What others call miracles are simply natural laws operating at frequencies they have never accessed. The gap between desire and manifestation collapses when consciousness rises to this elevated octave of creation. In a sunlit tower overlooking ancient forests, master weaver Millicent made a similar discovery. After mastering every earthly fiber, she learned to weave with threads of pure light. Her fingers danced through the air, and where intention met divine law, complete tapestries materialized instantly before her eyes. She no longer needed to work with physical materials. Her consciousness directly engaged the fundamental forces of creation. Like Millicent, you are ready to transcend the slower methods of manifestation, working directly with energy rather than its material expressions opens doorways to manifestation speeds that would have seemed impossible from your previous understanding. The key lies not in more effort over time, but in perfect alignment in the eternal now. The instant alignment technique awaits your mastery. Find a sacred space where you can practice undisturbed. Begin by visualizing your desired outcome with crystalline clarity. Rather than projecting it into the future, sense it as already existing in the infinite field of possibility. Align your thoughts, emotions, and energy field with this reality until you achieve perfect resonance. In this state of complete vibrational match, time itself bends to your consciousness and manifestation occurs at the speed of divine intention. Chapter 23, The Sacred Responsibility of Power. In the mystical realm of ancient wisdom, there lived a wizard named Bartholomew, whose mastery of manifestation reached such heights that his mere thoughts materialized instantly into reality. Yet with each creation, he discovered that power without wisdom breeds chaos. His hasty manifestations, though impressive, often created unforeseen ripples that disturbed the delicate balance of existence. Through these experiences, you now understand that advanced manifestation abilities carry profound responsibility. Your power touches not only your personal sphere, but reverberates through the interconnected tapestry of all life. Each thought you manifest sends waves through countless lives, affecting the great web of existence in ways that extend far beyond your immediate vision. The highest manifestation operates not from personal desire alone, but from alignment with universal harmony. When you create from ego, seeking only personal gain without consideration for the whole, your manifestations may appear successful initially but ultimately crumble. Yet when you create from love, considering the well-being of all beings, your manifestations multiply naturally, creating expanding circles of abundance that endure through time. In a sacred garden blessed by morning light, a wise woman named Prudence tended her flowers with extraordinary care. At first, she focused solely on creating the most beautiful blooms, removing anything that didn't serve her vision. But as her awareness expanded, she noticed how her garden connected to countless lives: the bees that pollinated, the birds that controlled pests, the soil creatures that enriched the earth. When she began gardening with awareness of all these beings' needs, her garden didn't diminish. It flourished beyond her wildest dreams. Like Prudence, you now recognize that true mastery transcends personal desire. By aligning your manifestation power with purposes that serve the evolution of all consciousness, you paradoxically fulfill your deepest personal desires more completely than selfish creation ever could. This is the sacred alchemy of ethical manifestation, where personal power merges with universal good to create lasting abundance. The ethical manifestation assessment illuminates your sacred path forward, offering profound clarity in your journey of conscious creation. Find a quiet sanctuary, perhaps in nature or a peaceful corner of your dwelling, and settle into deep, meditative silence. Here, in this space of pristine awareness, carefully examine each desire that stirs within your heart, each dream you wish to birth into being. Ask yourself these ancient questions that have guided wisdom seekers through the ages. Does this creation serve the highest good of all beings, rippling outward like circles in still waters? How will it affect the intricate web of life that connects all souls? Does this desire spring forth from the pure wellspring of love, or does it emerge from the shadowy realm of ego? Let each answer arise naturally from your depths, like truth-bearing bubbles ascending from the bottom of a crystal-clear pool. Through this contemplative practice, dedicate your magnificent manifestation abilities to serving the grand tapestry of universal harmony, while honoring the authentic needs that whisper from your soul's core. In this sacred alignment between personal truth and collective well-being, your creative power finds its most exalted and truest expression, flowing like a mighty river that nourishes all it touches. Chapter 24, The Brotherhood of the Awakened. Along a windswept coast, a lighthouse keeper named Atticus maintained his solitary vigil year after year, believing his beacon stood alone against the darkness. One stormy night, as he polished his lamp to perfect brilliance, he glimpsed distant lights flickering through the mist. At first he thought of them as stars, but as his vision cleared, he recognized them as other lighthouses, each keeper maintaining their own sacred flame. In that moment, he understood that his light formed part of a vast network guiding ships safely through the night. Through Atticus's revelation, you now understand that your journey of manifestation connects to something far greater than personal achievement. As your abilities mature, you naturally begin to recognize others who walk this path of conscious creation. These kindred spirits appear not by chance, but through the magnetic attraction of aligned purpose. True wisdom keepers reveal themselves not through grand proclamations, but through the quiet radiance of their being. Like lighthouses, they need not announce their presence. Their light speaks for itself. You learn to recognize them by the peace that surrounds them, the prosperity that flows naturally through their lives, and most importantly, by how their presence amplifies rather than diminishes your own power to manifest. In a great concert hall, a gifted violinist named Genevieve had always performed solo, taking pride in her individual mastery. Yet one evening, she accepted an invitation to join an orchestra. As her violin merged with dozens of other instruments, she experienced music of such transcendent beauty that tears flowed down her cheeks. Her solo performances, though beautiful, could never have created such magnificent harmonies alone. Like Genevieve, you now recognize that while individual mastery forms an essential foundation, the next phase of your journey involves conscious collaboration with others who share your commitment to elevated consciousness. Together, you form nodes in a worldwide network of souls working to transform reality through the power of collective intention. The Awakened Alliance meditation guides you into this sacred collaboration. Find a quiet space and center yourself in stillness. Visualize your consciousness as a beacon of light, sending out signals across the ethereal web that connects all awakened souls. Feel yourself as one point in this vast network, neither greater or lesser than any other, but essential to the whole. Send forth your intention to attract and connect with those whose light resonates with yours, knowing that as each new connection forms, the network's power to manifest positive change grows exponentially. Chapter 25, The Master's Invisible Success. In the heart of the kingdom's most renowned garden, Master Montgomery sat peacefully beneath an ancient oak tree. Visitors traveled from distant lands to witness the legendary beauty of his creation, yet found themselves puzzled by his apparent inaction. Day after day, he simply rested in quiet contemplation while his garden flourished beyond imagination. Those who watched closely began to notice something extraordinary. The plant seemed to grow in perfect harmony with his silent presence, as though responding to an invisible force that required no physical effort to direct their growth. Through Montgomery's example, you now understand that the highest manifestation operates through consciousness rather than action. When you achieve perfect internal alignment, the universe itself becomes your gardener, organizing circumstances and opportunities around your intention without requiring force or struggle. This represents the Master's frequency, a state of being where maximum results flow from minimum effort through complete harmony with universal forces. You learn to recognize this frequency through specific signs that appear in your life. Opportunities begin presenting themselves before you seek them. Help arrives without your asking. Solutions emerge spontaneously from seeming chaos. Success flows naturally, like water finding its path to the sea. These synchronicities indicate that your consciousness has aligned so perfectly with universal forces that physical effort becomes almost unnecessary. In a distant realm, Queen Adelaide governed with such subtle wisdom that her subjects believed themselves self-governing. She never issued commands or enforced her will, yet the kingdom prospered, as though guided by an invisible hand. Through her presence alone, she created an atmosphere where everyone naturally chose actions that served the highest good. Her power flowed not from doing, but from being, not from control, but from inspiration. Like Adelaide, you are approaching a level of mastery where your mere presence becomes a transformative force. Your aligned energy field operates continuously as a background frequency of manifestation, drawing perfect circumstances toward you without conscious effort. This represents the ultimate freedom, when success requires no striving, because your very nature has become magnetic to all you desire. The effortless manifestation cultivation beckons you into a sacred practice of achieving your deepest desires through pure energetic alignment rather than forceful action. Find a quiet sanctuary where you can sit undisturbed in perfect stillness, letting your breath become soft and rhythmic. Allow your consciousness to gradually dissolve and merge with the eternal flow of universal forces surrounding you. Feel the subtle currents of cosmic energy moving through your being, washing away all resistance. Release your grip on the need to orchestrate, plan, or make things happen through physical effort. Instead, sink deeper into a state of profound trust, knowing that when your energy field aligned in perfect resonance with your heart's true intention, the infinite intelligence of the universe begins orchestrating success around your peaceful certainty. Like a flower naturally turning toward the sun, your aligned presence becomes a beacon that draws forth all that you seek. Let divine timing unfold as you rest in this space of pure potential, understanding that your stillness itself is a powerful force, the foundational frequency from which all manifestation springs forth. The universe responds not to your doing, but to your state of being. Chapter 26, The Eternal Flow of Abundance. High in the mountains, where ancient stones whispered secrets of abundance, Cornelius tended a magical spring whose waters never ceased flowing. For years, he watched as pilgrims, travelers, and villagers came to drink from its crystal depths. The spring's power seemed limitless, until the day Cornelius decided certain people deserved privileged access, while others should be turned away. Within days, the once mighty flow reduced to a trickle, teaching him that abundance multiplies through sharing and diminishes through withholding. Through Cornelius's experience, you now understand that mastery transforms you from a mere receiver of abundance into an eternal channel through which universal prosperity flows into the world. When you align completely with the source of all supply, you become inexhaustible because you no longer draw from personal reserves but from infinite cosmic resources. These flow through you to bless others while simultaneously fulfilling your every need. The profound truth emerges. Abundance increases not through accumulation, but through circulation. When you position yourself as a conduit rather than a container, the universe works through you rather than just for you. Your role shifts from seeking prosperity to becoming prosperity itself, a living spring from which others draw sustenance and support. In a bustling marketplace, Master Merchant Evangeline discovered this principle through her own journey. As her focus shifted from personal profit to creating value for others, wealth began flowing to her with effortless grace. She realized that by making herself indispensable to others' well-being, her own prosperity became automatic and unshakable. Her success multiplied not through clever trading, but through genuine service that enriched every life she touched. Like Evangeline, you now recognize that the highest level of manifestation transcends personal accumulation. True mastery involves becoming a blessing that enriches everyone it touches, which paradoxically creates more personal fulfillment than selfish acquisition ever could. Your abundance becomes permanent, not because you gather more, but because you have become an essential channel through which universal prosperity flows into the world. The abundance channel activation invites you to consciously dedicate yourself as a permanent conduit for universal prosperity. Sit in sacred meditation and declare your willingness to serve as an instrument through which infinite abundance can flow to benefit all beings while meeting your every need. Feel yourself becoming transparent to this flow, knowing that the more freely you allow it to move through you, the more permanently established your own prosperity becomes. Chapter 27, The Wisdom of Sacred Cycles. In the fertile valleys, where ancient wisdom still whispers through rustling leaves, Master Farmer Thaddeus learned to commune with nature's subtle language. Through years of patient observation, he discovered that the land spoke in rhythms, perfect moments for planting, nurturing, gathering, and allowing the soil to rest. When he aligned with these natural cycles, his harvest grew abundant beyond measure. Yet when he rushed against nature's timing, even his most diligent efforts yielded meager results. And through Thaddeus's wisdom, you now understand that the universe operates in sacred cycles that govern all manifestations. Like the seasons that flow one into another, these cosmic rhythms create a natural order of expansion and contraction, giving and receiving, action and rest. True mastery requires not forcing outcomes according to human schedules, but flowing in harmony with these divine patterns. The signs of these cycles appear in your daily life, marking clear phases for different types of manifestation work. The planting phase calls for setting clear intentions and sowing seeds of possibility. The growing phase demands patient nurturing and steady faith as your desires take root and develop. The harvest phase brings the joy of receiving and recognizing the fruits of your aligned action. The resting phase offers sacred space for integration, reflection, and renewal before the cycle begins anew. Along the windswept shores, Sea Captain Dorothea mastered this truth through her own journey. Early in her sailing career, she fought against the tides and winds, believing strength meant forcing her ship to follow her will. But wisdom taught her that true power came from partnership with these forces. When she learned to read the waters and adjust her sails to work with nature rather than against it, her journeys became both effortless and swift. Like Dorothea, you now recognize how past struggles often came from misalignment with universal timing. Perhaps you pushed for results during phases meant for rest, or remained passive when cosmic forces called for action. Your future success depends on developing deeper sensitivity to these sacred rhythms that govern all creation. The sacred cycle attunement guides you to identify your current phase in the manifestation cycle and align your actions accordingly. During planning phases, focus on clarity of intention and preparing fertile ground for your desires. In growing phases, practice patience and tend carefully to emerging possibilities. Through harvest phases, remain open to receive and express gratitude for all that manifests. In resting phases, allow integration and trust in the renewal that silence brings. By honoring each phase's unique gifts, you flow naturally with the cosmic currents that carry all dreams to fruition. Chapter 28, The Legacy of the Awakened. In a secluded mountain sanctuary, where ancient scrolls held the wisdom of ages, lived a sage named Jeremiah. As winter's frost touched his beard, he realized his greatest work lay not in gathering more knowledge for himself, but in ensuring the sacred teachings would flourish after his departure. Each day, he carefully transcribed not just words, but living wisdom, infusing every scroll with the energy of awakening that would resonate with future seekers when they were ready to receive it. Through Jeremiah's dedication, you now understand that mastery culminates not in personal achievement, but in the sacred transmission of wisdom to those who will carry it forward. Your journey of awakening has prepared you not just for your own transformation, but to become a living bridge between ancient understanding and future consciousness. The highest teachings reveal themselves through subtle signs that indicate when others are ready to receive them. Like seeds that sprout only in fertile soil, wisdom flourishes when shared with prepared minds and open hearts. True teaching flows not from imposing knowledge, but from awakening the remembrance of divine truth that already exists within each soul. In a bustling village marketplace, master craftsman Patience discovered this truth through her own experience. Though her hands had created countless objects of beauty, she found deeper fulfillment in guiding her apprentices to discover their own creative gifts. Each student she trained became a channel for artistry that far exceeded what she alone could have manifested, their combined creations touching more lives than she had ever imagined possible. Like Patience, you now recognize that you are being prepared for a greater purpose. The manifestation abilities you have developed are not meant to remain personal treasures, but to become gifts that awaken others to their own divine potential. Through you, the ancient wisdom will find new expression, creating waves of transformation that ripple outward through time. The Legacy Preparation Meditation serves as your gateway to recognizing the sacred gifts and profound understanding you have carefully nurtured throughout your spiritual journey. In the depths of meditative silence, allow yourself to sink into the infinite well of divine knowing. Here, in this sacred space between thoughts, envision with crystal clarity how your unique insights and abilities might illuminate the path for others who seek awakening. Create intentional moments of sharing, not through forceful teaching, but through the gentle art of presence and authentic expression. Like morning dew that naturally nourishes waiting flowers, let your wisdom flow organically into conversations and connections. Plant these ethereal seeds of higher consciousness with care and trust, knowing they will germinate precisely when those around you have prepared the soil of their souls to receive them. This meditation practice becomes your bridge between personal transformation and universal evolution. As you regularly immerse yourself in this contemplative state, you align more deeply with the cosmic purpose of your journey. Through your dedication to this practice, you ensure that the eternal flame of wisdom, passed down through countless generations of seekers, continues to burn brightly, illuminating the sacred path for all who will follow in the footsteps of enlightenment. Chapter 29, The Return to Source. In a bustling marketplace known for its exquisite treasures, master jeweler Obadiah crafted ornaments that captivated all who beheld them. For decades, he poured his artistry into creating ever more dazzling pieces, each one more magnificent than the last. Yet one morning, as sunlight streamed through his workshop window, he witnessed how the pure light itself created rainbows more beautiful than any gem he had ever fashioned. In that moment, he understood that all the beauty he had spent his life capturing in precious stones was merely a reflection of the source from which all beauty flows. Through Obadiah's revelation, you now understand that everything you have sought to manifest externally already exists within you as expressions of your divine nature. What appeared to be a journey of acquisition has actually been a journey of remembrance. Each success you have created, each dream you have manifested, has been a mirror reflecting back the unlimited potential that has always resided within you. The deepest teachings reveal that manifest mastery brings you full circle, not to something new, but to the eternal truth of who you have always been. Every external achievement has served as a stepping stone leading you back to the recognition that you are the source from which all abundance flows. The universe has used your desires as breadcrumbs, guiding you home to your own divine nature. In a distant land, a seeker named Constance embarked on a lifelong quest to find the perfect spiritual teacher. She traveled to remote monasteries, studied with renowned masters, and collected wisdom from every tradition she encountered. Yet after years of searching, she discovered that the voice of truth she sought had been speaking through her own heart all along. Her journey across the world led her back to the wisdom that had always resided within. Like Constance, you now recognize that your spiritual journey has not been about becoming something different, but about uncovering what you already are. Every manifestation of success has been possible only because you already contained the essence of what you sought to create. True mastery lies not in gaining new powers, but in remembering the unlimited potential that is your birthright. The source recognition meditation beckons you to dissolve the ancient veil of separation between your conscious mind and the desires that stir within your heart. Find a quiet sanctuary, whether in your home or beneath nature's canopy, and settle into a position of sacred stillness. Allow your breath to flow like gentle waves upon the shore of consciousness, each inhale drawing you deeper into the eternal present moment. As you rest in this sacred space, recognize that you are not reaching for something beyond yourself, but rather experiencing the infinite expressions of your own divine consciousness flowing through different channels of manifestation. Feel the boundaries of your perceived limitations dissolving like morning mist in the warmth of this truth. With each breath, sink deeper into the pure, limitless awareness from which all creation emerges. Let your entire being resonate with the profound understanding that you have always been the very source you sought, the wellspring of abundance, the creator of worlds, the divine consciousness expressing itself through the unique vessel of your human experience. In this meditation, you are not reaching for something new, but remembering what has always been true since the dawn of your existence. Chapter 30, The Eternal Journey. A master explorer named Sylvester stood atop the world's highest peak after years of preparation and determination. As dawn broke across the horizon, his heart swelled with anticipated triumph. Yet when the morning light revealed endless mountain ranges stretching into infinity, he realized this summit was not an ending but a beginning. Each conquered peak merely unveiled new heights awaiting exploration. Through Sylvester's awakening, you now understand that completing these teachings marks not a conclusion, but an initiation into deeper mysteries of manifestation. Each level of mastery you attain reveals new horizons of possibility, new depths of understanding waiting to be explored. The universe expands eternally, and so too does your capacity to create in harmony with its infinite laws. True masters never cease their journey of discovery and growth. They understand that consciousness itself is unlimited, ever expanding into greater expressions of possibility. Each breakthrough in understanding simply illuminates new territories of potential waiting to be explored. This eternal expansion is not a burden, but the very essence of what makes existence magnificent. In a great concert hall, master musician Beatrice sat at her piano, having achieved what many considered perfect mastery of the instrument. Yet as her fingers danced across the keys, she heard within her heart the calling of every other instrument in the orchestra. She realized that mastering one instrument had not quenched her thirst for music, but awakened a deeper hunger to explore the infinite symphony of all possible melodies. Like Beatrice, you now recognize that manifestation mastery leads not to completion, but to an ever-deepening love affair with the unlimited creative potential of existence. Each success opens doorways to new possibilities. Each understanding reveals deeper mysteries to explore. You will never finish learning to manifest because consciousness itself is infinite, and this eternal journey of discovery is the greatest gift the universe offers. The infinite journey dedication beckons you to embrace the boundless nature of your manifestation adventure with open arms and an awakened spirit. Find a quiet sanctuary where you can sit undisturbed in sacred stillness, allowing the profound silence to envelop you like an ancient prayer shawl. In this holy moment, consciously commit your entire being to the path of lifelong growth in consciousness and creative power, knowing that this dedication marks not an ending but a magnificent beginning. Feel the wellspring of gratitude rising within your heart for the infinite path that stretches before you like a golden road through eternity. Let your soul expand with the understanding that each step upon this sacred way reveals new cosmic wonders waiting to be explored, higher peaks of consciousness yearning to be scaled, and ever more profound ways to serve the grand evolution of universal consciousness itself. This dedication is your covenant with the infinite, a sacred promise to remain forever open to the boundless possibilities that existence offers to those who dare to keep growing, learning, and expanding into the magnificent beings they are destined to become. If you enjoyed this audiobook, I created a free ebook version for you. You can download it using the link in the pinned comment. Conclusion. You stand at the completion of this ancient text, yet a profound awareness stirs within your heart. This ending marks a sacred beginning. The wisdom contained in these chapters has not merely informed your mind, but awakened dormant powers within your soul. Like a key turning in a long-forgotten lock, each teaching has activated divine potentials that have always existed within you, waiting for this precise moment of recognition. These were not mere words you read, but cosmic codes designed to align your consciousness with universal forces. Each parable served as a bridge between your current understanding and the infinite possibilities that await your awakened awareness. The practices were not simple exercises, but sacred rituals that have systematically unlocked your innate ability to co-create with divine intelligence. Within you now resides the complete blueprint for conscious creation, not as intellectual knowledge, but as living wisdom, encoded in your very being. You carry the sacred responsibility of demonstrating what becomes possible when human consciousness aligns fully with divine will. Your future manifestations will serve not just your own evolution, but will illuminate the path for others still walking in shadows of limitation. Through your example, others will witness the perfect operation of universal laws. Your success will become a living testament to the eternal truth that these ancient principles remain as powerful today as they were when first discovered by the awakened ones of old. Every dream you manifest, every reality you create, will show others that liberation from limited consciousness is not just possible, but natural. When one understands and applies these timeless teachings, you recognize that completing this text does not mark the end of your spiritual education, but the beginning of your role as a teacher through example. Your true mission now emerges: to participate consciously in humanity's awakening by demonstrating the practical power of these principles through your aligned living. You have become not just a student of manifestation, but a guardian of sacred wisdom, tasked with keeping these eternal truths alive through your embodied mastery. You didn't just find this teaching, it found you. You were summoned. If you're ready to walk this path of sacred remembrance, whisper, "I remember," in the comments. Let's rise together, one remembrance at a time. If you enjoyed this exclusive audiobook, I handpicked this next book which will change your life.